Well. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Salty Goddess Podcast. I'm Margaret Perry. This is your midweek hump day guilty pleasure. Welcome back. So this week, what are we going to talk about? I took some notes because it turns out that even though I gave you all a roadmap last week, you ignored it. Now you're lost, crying on the side of the road somewhere. For those of you with executive dysfunction, that's a polite way of saying adult ADHD. So I did a little polling, got some information. Turns out y'all checked out last week because you thought it was a lecture at like a conference or something. So you heard it, you thought it sounded good, but you didn't absorb any of the content. So for those of you who didn't listen last week, the results are in. The exact people who needed last week's episode did not pay attention. So sad. So y'all executive dysfunctioned your way out of literally a survival guide. Coping mechanisms, strategies to assist you in navigating those dysfunctions. And I'm not here poking at y'all. I'm here to tell you that I can talk about these things because maybe I've experienced a few of them myself. So I understand. Our generation, yes, us old folk, we didn't get diagnosed with ADHD. We got set aside and told, y'all are the weird ones, the nerds, the hyperactive individuals, the people that can't stay focused. But ADHD wasn't a thing in the 1980s. It was just coming into vogue the next decade and the decade after. So what do we know? We know that ADHD is truly executive dysfunction, all of the things that I talked about last week. So, listen, y'all, if your brain was a car, your check engine lights would all be on, blinking, every single one of them going off, okay? Last week, I handed you a manual. You didn't even crack it open. You didn't open the glove box to see if it was in there. So this is your redemption tour this week. You're not off the hook. You're distracted. And I get it. Okay? You got ADHD so bad that you forgot to care about having it. You planned to listen. You intended to learn. But then something happened and you began alphabetizing your spice rack. And you didn't hear any of the content that I gave you last week. So maybe you got trapped in a Wikipedia deep dive or something on feral pigs or hogs or something. I don't know. So let me say it loud for those of you in the back. Intention is not the same as execution. But I am not calling you lazy. And I'm not calling you stupid. Not at all. But you are skipping some important information. Y'all can't tell me that you're drowning in chaos. I throw you the life preserver, but you throw it back at me because you got distracted by a duck or a swan or some shit. I don't know. I don't get it. Okay? So take the time to listen to last week's episode, all right? You cannot improve upon things that you don't or won't admit are going wrong. And just because they're going wrong doesn't mean they can't go right. The mental gymnastics that you all do to justify not changing and not improving could get you a gold medal at the Olympics if there were such a thing. Listening to everybody say, I don't need structure. I'm creative. My creative juices can't flow if it's structured. Sweetheart, no, you're not creative, okay? What you are is making excuses for not changing. You think that sugarcoating it or packaging it in different wrapping and bows makes your dysfunction palatable or acceptable. Bitch, please, putting lipstick on a pig doesn't transform the pig into a princess. Get real. Stop sugarcoating your chaos. I would rather hear you say, yep, I have executive dysfunction over here. I do. But I am not in the least bit interested in working hard, putting in the effort to change my circumstances. Say that. I'd rather hear you tell me that truth. I'd rather hear you be authentically you, okay, than hear you trying to reclassify your situation with flowery words when all it really is chaos and confusion. I'm not into that. So I would much rather hear you say the truth. You don't want to work toward doing anything other than staying chaotic and confused. And with your level of dysfunction, you're okay with it. Just say it. It's all good. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care. Do you, boo? But don't try to piss down my back and tell me it's raining, because it's not. It's not. All right. So just tell me the truth. You don't want to work on doing better, being better. It's too much work. For some people, it is too much work. I get it. Who the hell wants to be told they got work to do? Oh my gosh, we're in our 50s. We're hoping there isn't any more work to do. But I got news for you. There is. And when things aren't working, when they're not working for you, why would you continually do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results? That is literally madness. Absolute madness. All right. So sticky notes aren't a system. They're a paper graveyard. Putting your planner under your pillow at night isn't going to get you to absorb shit by osmosis. Not how it works. It's not magical. If you want different results, you're going to have to do something different besides vibe and cry. Flowery affirmations aren't going to fix what's wrong. Only hard work, dedication, and admitting that you need to improve some things in your life. That's what works. That's what changes, what gives you improvements. All right. So last week, y'all skipped the tools. All right. But now you're still wondering why you're exhausted, disorganized, and you're 3 months behind on deliverables at work. You haven't started that, home improvement project that you promised you were going to start. You haven't put together the patio furniture. You haven't put together, a piece of furniture in the house because you're overwhelmed by all the steps and you're disorganized and it's chaotic. You can't get anything done in those circumstances. So here's the spicy truth. No affirmation is going to get you out of patterns that you refuse to confront. All the good intentions don't mean shit when there is zero follow through. The secret sauce is in implementation, muscle memory, and discipline. It's that simple. I make it sound simple because I've had decades of navigating the same issues, the same procrastination, the same time management, or truly time mismanagement. And y'all think that working under the gun, oh, I only work well under pressure when I'm up against a deadline. You know, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Planning should start early, and you should stage out that project and do it step by step. That chaotic rush to deliver something in the last 24, 48 hours, that's not you working well under pressure. That's bullshit. You know it. I know it. And newsflash, your boss knows it too. The quality of work that is done that last minute when you're up against your deadline, friends, it's shit quality. You had 6 weeks to do a project. You did it in the last 48 hours before the deadline. It looks like you did it in the last 48 hours. You're not fooling anybody. All the pieces and the parts are there, but they're not refined. They're not as organized or as polished as they could be had you staged out the completion of this project. Please, you're not fooling anybody. I promise you, you are not fooling anybody. I know. Last week felt like a lecture. That's because it kind of was, in a way, a lecture. I was trying to get y'all to see and understand that executive dysfunction actually affects a large number of us, and some to varying degrees, some more so, some less so. This isn't a vibe session, y'all. It's a fucking intervention. Y'all need an intervention. Because if you think going through life like this is the way it's supposed to be, it's not. So acknowledge the fact that you got some issues. Maybe you got more issues than you got tissues. I don't know. But you got to get right with it. And you got to fix it. Otherwise, each and every single one of those sections I went through last week will show you that you have work to do. So I'm not here roasting you for no reason. I am the salty goddess of solutions, friends. I don't just bring the problem to your feet. I bring you actionable items, solutions. All right? If you walked out of the ladies' room with toilet tissue tucked into your waistline, into your waistband, and everybody could see it, you would want me to point that out to you, wouldn't you? Of course you would. Okay, not to the whole world. You'd like me to do it discreetly. Well, listening to last week's podcast is discreet. In the privacy of your own home, where you can rewind it, take notes, pause it, stop, grab yourself something to drink. Maybe some of y'all need, I don't know, like some whiskey or some shit to get through it. I don't know. For some individuals, it's hard to admit that there's a dysfunction because they automatically think that it means they're broken. It doesn't mean you're broken. Not at all. It means your brain is just wired differently. And that's okay. I don't know about you, but if I was taking a journey somewhere, I would want somebody to lay out the journey, the path for me that would make it easier for me. This is what I'm trying to do here. So I wasn't trying to call you out and embarrass anybody by talking about executive dysfunction and saying y'all got it. I was trying to point out that it's okay to have it. And you just have to learn how to navigate that journey. and make your life a little bit easier. All right. So you can replay last week's episode. You absolutely can. Nothing wrong with that. Hold on while I put my old lady glasses back on here and get back to my notes so we can tie this up a little bit for y'all. All right. So I'm not here to roast you, but acknowledging the first issue, this is your first step in navigating that issue. So here's your task this week. Go back, listen to last week's episode, pause when you need to, rewind, take fucking notes. Take notes in a notebook. You know, remember, I talked with y'all about these notebooks, right? I mean, this isn't something new. I have a notebook. I talk about it I swear to God, I talk about this notebook every single episode almost, right? Got to have your pen. Here's one of the highlighters I use as I finish everything on my list. And I mark it off. I mark it off in the book. That's what gives me my dopamine rush. That's what tells me, oh my gosh, you marked off 7 things on your to-do list today. I'm actually being honest here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things I marked off. I added 5 more things to my list this week, and I've already gotten a start on those. All right. We need to be more organized. So go back, pause and rewind. Gamify it. I dare all of you. Okay, here's your thing. Direct message me with 3 things that you're going to do differently moving forward based on what you learned in last week's episode. You all know how to direct message me. I know you do, because some of y'all be showing up in my DMs saying things you shouldn't be saying to me. Okay? People, I know you know how to direct message someone. I'm all over social media. I'm all over the internet. Got a website, thesaltygoddess.com. Please, I want you to DM me and tell me the 3 things you're going to try to do differently to help you navigate easier some of the dysfunction that you have, the executive dysfunction. All right? Because listening without doing is just noise, extraneous noise. So you have to take action. That's what I'm expecting from y'all. This is your sign, not from the universe, not from the multiverse, but your sign from me. Take those notes before your brain short circuits one more time. All right? Now, what happens when you don't? You keep skipping steps. When you do that, you're going to be in the same spot next year, blaming bad luck when it's just your bad habits. You'll have only yourself to blame. And friends, you blaming Mercury being in retrograde is not some cosmic shit. It's you still making bad choices. Executive dysfunction doesn't go away with intention. It is navigated through implementation. A dream without a plan is just a nap. So try living the dream, making a plan, figuring out how you're going to do this and how you're going to navigate these dysfunctions and these problems. All right? Stop DMing me BS. You know what I'm talking about, because I've responded to some of you and told you that your DMs were being screenshot and sent to the FBI because I'm a mandated reporter. You know who you are. Stop that shit. Instead, go back, listen to the podcast from last week, take notes, and then DM me and tell me what you're going to do to implement change in your life for the better. Don't be distracted by, a picture and some makeup. Ain't nobody got time for that shit. You need to improve what you got going on, friends. So get to it. Stop screwing around. Stop wasting your time. Stop procrastinating. Because you and I both know that that is a sign of dysfunction. Okay? So that's the first part of today's episode. I don't want to see people falling behind, remaining chaotic, ending up with situations that just don't work. But you're doing the same things over and over and over and over again. Why would you do that? Why would you want to do that? I wouldn't want to do that. Right? You don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that. So stop ignoring the signs. Stop ignoring the system. Stop ignoring the help that you're receiving when people are trying to help you out. All right? Just remember, coping mechanisms, if used properly, can truly render great results. But what if I told you that sugarcoating your shit is really self-sabotage? It is. It absolutely is. Your actions and your words have got to match because you're not misunderstood. You're perfidious. Your actions have to back up the words, right? Pictures, launch 1,000 ships or beauty or whatever. Friends, listen to me. You have got to implement and take action. When you say, I'm going to try this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do better, but your actions don't match up, it's a lie. It's incongruous. All right? Selective effort syndrome is real, and you're not imagining it. People know what they've got to do. They just don't want to do it for you. All right? Confidence is quiet. Low self-esteem is loud. Because when you have low self-esteem, it's your ego that does the talking. And ego is about image. Confidence is authentic. And that's quiet for the most part. All right. The difference between boundaries and walls. Boundaries show self-respect. Walls are built out of fear. So walls are built to keep others away and out, right? Think of Hadrian's Wall in Europe, all right? Was built to keep people out. And some people in, I guess, depending on the circumstance. All right? Stop being emotionally stagnant. Don't drown in your own denial. All right? And stop being loud about your denial. If you're going to drown, could you do it more quietly, please? Because you're disturbing everybody else's peace. Nobody wants to partake in that bullshit. Nobody wants to play them reindeer games with y'all. Okay? Stop being emotionally bankrupt, mannerless, and mistaking chaos for some personality trait that people should ascribe to. Nobody wants that shit. Okay? Nobody. Not me. Not you. Not your friends. Not your family. Nobody wants it. You're not self-aware. You're bloated, unhealed, unapologetically unpleasant. Please just stop. Grow. Okay? Grow. That's the goal. Stop parading dysfunction like it's desirable. Dysfunction is not desirable. Just stop that shit. Stop it. All right? Authenticity and ego do not and cannot and never will share a stage together. Ego is the image. It's what you want others to believe about you. Authenticity is what you really are. That's your character. If you're authentic, ego doesn't show up because you're confident in what you're showing. And I promise you, handling executive dysfunction actually builds self-esteem, and it creates confidence in your competence. Gee, where have you heard that before? Somebody you know may say that that's their job, is to create confidence and competence. Because when you're competent, it builds your self-esteem, it builds your confidence, right? So your character, not your ego, determines your value. Just remember that. And what is character? Character is what you are no matter who is in the room. Plain and simple. That's your character. It's not what you are when you're on display only. That's ego. All right? You can't, run around reeking of unprocessed trauma and think that you're healed or that you're growing, because you're not. All right? That's what it really comes down to. All right? So, what are you going to do? You can ask for help. You can ask for a shovel. Either way, you're digging the same hole. Grow from your trauma or bleed in the drama. That's what you get to do. Personally, I like growth better, right? A much better idea. Ain't nobody got time for your bleeding, your exsanguination. Nobody. All right? So, get to stepping, put yourself together, go back and listen, because you need to. If your life is chaotic, you may have executive dysfunction. Therefore, you need last week's podcast to help you out a little bit. It gives you some action items, some ways to help navigate through it. All right? Stop asking why other people have ghosted you. Be grateful that that trash took itself out. You don't need it. And if they ghosted you, did you need them? They weren't loyal. They weren't there for the long haul. All right? You can't do anything with that. There are no awards for a performative life. We've had that discussion. Take off the mask. Be your authentic self. Stop performing. Stop allowing ego to take center stage. It is totally okay to admit that you have executive dysfunction and you've got to work on it. Nothing wrong with that. Some of us have been there, done that. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. We may have even stayed at a Holiday Inn Express once a couple decades ago. Doesn't mean we know it all, because we don't. But we are open to learning. We are open to change. We are open to understanding that textbooks that we may have learned from 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago may have some outdated knowledge. And it's okay to acknowledge that. Because honestly, y'all, I know you used to believe in the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus. And you accepted those as being old and outdated without even skipping a beat. So I know that you can look at new knowledge today and accept it as well. There's no reason why you can't, friend. We all do it. Well, a bunch of us do anyway. All right? So, I gave you your job this week. listen to last week's podcast, pause it often, take notes, and then message me and let me know what 3 things you're going to attempt to modify to help you navigate through having executive dysfunction. And until next week, stay salty, stay savage, but absolutely stay audaciously authentic, because that's where it's really at. This is the Salty Goddess Podcast. I'm Margaret Perry, your hump day guilty pleasure. Be sure to follow, subscribe, share, and download. And please comment. I'm absolutely interested in how each of you feel about the content that you're hearing. Have a great week, y'all. And whatever you do, don't melt. It's hot. Stay cool. And check on your friends and loved ones often, especially those that don't get around well. All right, this heat can be debilitating. All right, see you next week.